What's not supposed to be scary but is? Your phone's front camera and microphone. I bought a phone with pop-up front camera at least twice since August 2019. While opening links to websites full of ads, Firefox opened my front camera. I quickly closed Firefox. Camera fell back inside the phone and I removed permissions. It happened again months later. The first time it scared the shit out of me. To be honest, I know their aspay was able to activate front camera. I even know people were blackmailed with their own selfies. I just didn't expect to have my camera activated by a stupid website linked by a friend. I still don't like the microphone. I keep Google Assistant deactivated and didn't give permissions to use microphone. I don't know how useful it is. And if you didn't have a pop-up camera, you wouldn't know about it. The majority of smartphones don't have pop-up cameras. When it comes to microphone, sometimes Google Assistant would just open for no reason / no hey Google. I wasn't even making a sound, and it would randomly open. Siri does the same. Small children singing. One time I woke up to my at the time 6-year-old sister singing a lullaby right in front of my face. One of the most terrifying experiences of my life. You should have thrown her out of the window. That won't work. They'll just float around outside the window in a circular motion. Scratching at the glass asking to be let in. We need to talk. Dolls. Lots and lots of dolls. Fun fact, dolls were originally created to house the souls of the dead. That's not a fun fact. My great grandmother disagrees. She sounds fun as hell. When you're the first one at the table to order and you don't know what you want. My wife's family is notorious for everyone sitting down and just shooting the shit while their menus go unto shade. Then the waiter comes over to take our order and that's when they decide, oh yeah, guess I'd better figure out what I want to eat, lol, and the waiter has to come back at least once, but most often twice to finally get everyone at the table's order. It is so incredibly frustrating and embarrassing. Her father is also one of those people that likes to ask the waiter what they recommend. To this day, after almost a decade of dinners out with her family, I've still never seen him actually order something based on a waiter's recommendation. I just want to scream. Jesus fuck. Dude, we are at fucking Olive Garden. Do you really think the cooks at Olive Garden are out perusing the local farmers market every morning to find the freshest things available for a custom menu like some Michelin-starred restaurant? Oh, the Chilean sea base is exceptionally good today, sir. Caught fresh this morning and teleported from the coast right here to us in the upper Midwest. It's the same shit it was last time, and will be the same shit next time, and it's going to taste exactly the same as it ever did, because it's all pre-made and they are just throwing it in the microwave in the back. Juan doesn't have any fucking recommendations. Juan doesn't even fucking eat here probably. Juan is just going to try and pull some shit out of his ass to appease you, and you're not going to order it anyway, so why the fuck do we always have to go through this shit? At least with all this coronavirus shit I've got a temporary reprieve from that nonsense. This is my husband's family to a T. I could not have said it better myself. Driving next to a semi-truck, especially between a concrete barrier and a semi-truck. No, that's a very valid fear. If that truck moves over, your car is going to do a great impression of a pancake, and your bodily fluids will be the syrup. Death never tasted so good. This sounds like the tagline to a bad late 90s movie preview. In a world where you're driving next to a semi-truck, boxed in by a concrete barrier, with a logging truck in front of you and a cement truck behind you. With one wrong move, you'll be a pancake. And death never tasted so good. Apostrophe. The sound of the emergency broadcast system test between the loud, awful noise and the robotic voice. I always just have to turn off the TV or radio until it's over. Fuck that shit. As an older guy, I can tell you the first time I heard a voice come over the ebbs I nearly had a heart attack, soiled myself, and fainted all within a nanosecond. Time slowed down, and that moment became a minute when all sorts of thoughts enter the mind. Kinda like the Matrix. Why? Because in the 60s and 70s you were never supposed to hear a voice. The EBS was only to be used when the end of things was upon you, the nukes were flying, and you only had minutes of life left. So better go hide under the bed and kiss your ass goodbye. Most scared I ever was. You never wanted to hear a voice. This was now the 90s and some bureaucrat somewhere decided EBS was more than just for nukes. But didn't tell the general public of this change. Turned out to be a high wind warning or some such a county over from mine. Scared the living hell out of me. I was rattled and jumpy all day after that. I remember as a kid in the 70s and 80s having Saturday morning cartoons interrupted by the sound and the voice saying this is a test of the emergency broadcast system. This is only a test. Every time for the first few seconds you weren't sure if we were being bombed or if it was just a test. Scary shit for a kid who was just trying to enjoy Scooby-Doo. Pregnancy. Growing a whole human inside your body. So many things could go wrong. And then there's the prospect of labor. I remember reading some shower thought or something that was super creepy. It went sort of like this. Thanks to pregnant women, the average number of skeletons in adults is greater than 1. Filling out government forms. I'm always afraid I'll get in trouble for signing off on a genuine mistake under penalty of perjury. When I was filing for citizenship, all the forms made me nauseous. I was convinced I was going to misspell something and they would throw out my whole application. Opening one of those containers for crescent roll dough and slowly unwrap the foil waiting for the whole thing to pop open. I hate it. Calling someone you don't know on the phone. Calling someone and know that people in the office are listening to the call. Helicopters flying too low to the ground directly overhead. When I hear a helicopter I always get the chills. I'm close enough to a helicopter training base that I can hear them play the anthem in the morning. You would be in a constant state of panic attack. Close bracket. Night swimming in a pool. Can't see the sharks. That's just because they are made of glass though. Walmart during a pandemic. Or Walmart at any time. I feel like I'm dodging people I know like zombies in The Walking Dead. Furbies. Me and my friend bought Furbies together. Mine came with a mask that you can put on that makes him go to sleep. Hers doesn't have that. If she's too loud, then he'll wake up and he'll just stay awake for like 10 minutes. It's terrifying. Ventriloquist puppets. There's an Anthony Hopkins movie about that. Magic. It wasn't great, but was bad either, and it had effective moments. What is the plot? Hopkins, who goes by the suitably stupid name Corky, wants to be a professional magician, but fails because he lacks the right gimmick. So he becomes a ventriloquist and gets a dummy Fats with whom he does magic tricks. He is very successful, but unfortunately he can't control his dummy even off stage. Split personality issue. Still he manages to get by. Then he hooks up with some girl and the dummy gets jealous. His secret comes out and he has to kill people to cover it. Since Hopkins is a good actor he pulls all this off pretty well, and Fats is properly creepy like any good dummy should be. It's fun. Not a bad movie. For me, the sound of a notification. Now it inspires fear in my heart. The woods at night. My dog Sam went missing in the woods next to my cabin, but returned in 3 days, as if everything was normal. She didn't like going near those woods, which really frightened me. I now live in Texas. Is your dog okay now? How did it go after that incident? The ocean. I hate it so much that when I'm scrolling around on Google Maps I have to look away when I go nicer the Pacific or the Atlantic. I hate it. Reading this makes me remember of the empty void that it is space. When I looks into Google Maps and the planet Earth is in a place surrounded by nothing. Just black and nothing. Someone coughing near you. Getting right next to you in the store. That fucking live action Cat in the Hat movie. The 3 little dots on an iPhone when someone is typing. Roombas. Whenever I'm downstairs at 4 AM getting cereal I headed boot up and move around bumping into things in the dark. Terrifying. Agreed. I forgot the Roomba was going off mid-morning during the week because I'm not at home normally. Close bracket. Every time I hear weird bumping shuffling sounds from downstairs I just about have a heart attack. The worst was when I slept in and was awakened by the thumping and knocking noises. Knocking on the door. You look out the peephole and see nothing. So you turn around and there's another knock, so you ask, "Who is it?" A child answers you, "Please open the door, I need help, my mommy is on the floor and she is not waking up. It's been 2 days and she hasn't wake up." So you open the door and see a little girl standing there. She is wearing dirty pink pajamas, teddy bear clutched between her arms, and you can clearly see she's been crying. Her tiny arm stretches out pointing down the hall. Mommy is in the kitchen floor. You go to check out and indeed find the little girl's mom lying on the ground. She is white as paper, nettle on her arm, pillow on her side, so she doesn't roll over. You call 911 and explain all of this to them, and they tell you to take the little girl out of there and to wait for emergency services to arrive and to not hang up. The ambulance probably took 6 or 7 minutes to get their paramedic go and check on the woman and confirm your fears that the lady is dead. They look back to you and ask if you put her on her side and place the pillow on her back. Before you get the chance to say anything, little girl steps up and say, "I did that. Mommy taught me how." Was it wrong? A couple of minutes later the police arrived and they immediately try to take the little girl away. She starts crying and screaming, "Mommy, wake up, they taking me away, mommy." Stranger danger and a lot other things you can't quite understand. Every single person in the apartment complex is now out watching all of this go down. In all it took 10 minutes for the cops to get the little girl out. One of them stayed there to interview you while the paramedics bagged the little girl's mom. You answer everything the police woman asked and they left. You go back to your apartment, close the door, and wished you have never opened it in the first place as you start crying, not knowing how to go on with your life and worried about the little girl's future. That is not an irrational fear, you literally don't know what are you going to find on the other side. The story is real. The guy that opened the door was my teacher back in high school, and the story was part of the eulogy his wife gave when he passed a couple of years ago, saying that was the point in life when he realized he wanted to help kids any way he could, and the reason he was such a dedicated teacher. Phone screenshots with less than 10% battery. Holding babies. The dark. I mean, everything is just like the day, except you can't see, so you end up getting paranoid of what could be there, even in your own home. I used to be scared of the toilet. When I was a young kid I used to be afraid to flush the toilet because I was scared I'd get sucked down. My parents were not happy walking into the bathroom and seeing my floaters. What did it for me was going to Blockbuster as a kid and seeing the VHS cover of the movie Galleys. I was like, oh shit. Monsters live in the shitters. Thunder and lightning. Very very frightening me. Galileo. Galileo. When a normally non-bipedal animal walks on 2 feet. The child collector in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. The what? Seeing your reflection in a mirror in a dream. Turning the downstairs light off before bed.